When engaging in any kind of competition, we often see only two possible outcomes: winning or losing. Most people who participate do not intend to lose. They compete with the firm desire to emerge victorious. Victory brings with it a sense of happiness and satisfaction, while defeat often results in sadness and disappointment. This mindset reflects how we perceive not only competitions, but life itself. Epictetus, one of the Stoic philosophers, used to remind his students of the danger of anchoring our happiness in things beyond our control. When we ardently desire or intensely avoid what is not in our hands, we put ourselves in a vulnerable position. This is because we make our happiness dependent on external factors, often beyond our control, such as the actions of others or even weather conditions. Following Epictetus's perspective, we find ourselves in a vulnerable position when longing to win in a competition whose outcome is beyond our control. If we emerge victorious, we experience joy. If we lose, we encounter sadness. However, the outcome itself is not under our control. In sports competitions, for example, our training, applied discipline, and invested effort are under our command, but the final result often escapes our grasp. The Stoics, like Epictetus, taught the importance of directing our efforts toward what we can control. The pursuit of excellence in training and preparation for competition is an area where we can exert direct influence. However, the final outcome, influenced by external variables, is beyond our absolute control. Epictetus highlights the uncontrollable nature of certain elements that permeate competitions and life's challenges. We do not have absolute control over our opponents or the elements of luck and unpredictability that inevitably come into the equation. No matter how meticulously we prepare and present ourselves, there is always a possibility of facing defeat. The crux of the matter is that aversion to defeat is deeply ingrained in most people. For many, losing is painful. It is a blow to the ego and a feeling of degradation. But what if there were an approach that allowed us to win even when we seemingly lose? Epictetus argues that it is indeed possible. The key lies in the mentality and attitude adopted in situations. He illustrates this concept by telling the story of a musician capable of playing without hesitation and fear when in privacy, but trembling and paling when performing in front of an audience. The Stoics emphasize that true victory lies in the ability to maintain tranquility and inner calm, regardless of the external result. It's as Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Epictetus's teachings about the musician's anxiety before the audience reflect the human nature of seeking what is beyond our control. The musician, as outlined by Epictetus, did not fear due to lack of skill, but because he yearned for something beyond his control: applause, praise, and the audience's approval. By desiring something beyond his control, he placed himself in a position of uncertainty where the possibility of not achieving what he desired could lead to disappointment. As mentioned in the Enchiridion, he who fails in his desire is disappointed, and he who encounters the object of his aversion is miserable. Stoicism criticizes not only the longing for something external to our control, but also the ignorance about what one seeks. From this perspective, the musician desired something of little real value, because it was not within his domain. He wanted to obtain something of no true importance and reliability. His longing for the audience's praise led to a double defeat. First, due to the anxiety generated before the performance, a result of the burning desire, and second, for not achieving what he yearned for, which made him feel defeated. The example of the musician vividly illustrates the fragility of anchoring our happiness and satisfaction in external results. By desiring the applause and approval of the audience, the musician linked his joy to the unpredictable and uncontrollable response of others. Stoic philosophy challenges us to find contentment in what is within our control, rather than in the uncertainty of what lies beyond it. The longing to control the future is a trap many fall into, an attempt to master what has not yet occurred and, therefore, cannot be controlled. The Stoics identify in this relentless pursuit of anticipation and control over the future the root of anxiety and fear. The incessant exploration of numerous possibilities and attempts to anticipate and solve all potential obstacles only fuel our anxiety as we try to dominate something beyond our reach. Once again, according to Stoic teachings, the origin of this state of distress lies in the desire for something beyond our control. Desiring others' praise or victory in situations dependent on external factors opens up the possibility of not achieving them. This reflection raises the question, is it possible to create a situation in which one never loses and always achieves what one desires? The Stoics, including Epictetus and Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, offer a perspective on this question. Epictetus tells his students that Zeno, when meeting Antigonus, the king of Macedonia, did not show fear. According to Epictetus, Zeno valued very little what was under the control of others. The things that were under the control of others were unimportant to Zeno. This narrative highlights the Stoic attitude of detachment from things that are not under our direct control. Zeno, by not attributing significant value to areas of external control, achieved an inner freedom that made him immune to the whims of external circumstances. This Stoic attitude is encapsulated in Epictetus' famous quote, "Do not seek to have events happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do happen, and you will go on well." The Stoic pursuit of tranquility does not lie in an obstinate desire to control every aspect of life, but in serene acceptance of what is beyond our direct command. This understanding is crucial to transcend the anxiety arising from the pursuit of controlling an uncertain and uncontrollable future. The encounter between Zeno and Antigonus reveals a crucial aspect of Stoicism: serene indifference to the judgment of others and the quest to impress others. Antigonus, despite his position of power as a king, felt intimidated in front of Zeno, worried about the need to make a good impression on him, something beyond his control. Antigonus's perception of Zeno was under Zeno's control, not the king's. This dynamic highlights the absurdity of trying to impress someone with matters beyond our control. Epictetus, following the example of this encounter between king and philosopher, questions the validity of caring to please someone, pondering, "Do I care to please you? What do I gain from that? For do you know the standards by which a man is judged by another man? Have you cared to know what a good man is and what an evil man is, and how each becomes what he is?" These reflections echo the essence of Stoicism, emphasizing the importance of directing our attention to more fundamental matters: the pursuit of virtue, moral conduct, and self-knowledge. Zeno reveals an unshakable confidence in who he was and what he represented, primarily focusing on what was under his control. By not caring to impress the king, Zeno already considered himself victorious because he had nothing to lose. Pleasing or not pleasing the king was irrelevant to him. No external result could shake his conviction. On the other hand, he carefully protected what really mattered and was under his direct control, such as his virtue, moral choices, and attitude. These were the aspects that truly made him invincible. This Stoic stance is not just a philosophical exercise, but a practical approach to life. Epictetus, in his discourses, emphasizes the importance of directing our attention to what is under our control, because, as he observed, we are disturbed not by things, but by the views which we take of them. This Stoic view encourages the distinction between what is within our domain and what is outside it, allowing us to focus our energy on what truly matters. Zeno's example also illustrates the centrality of virtue and authenticity in Stoic philosophy. Instead of worrying about others' opinions or external outcomes, the focus is on cultivating personal ethics, moral integrity, and wisdom. These are the pillars that ensure true invincibility, as they are immune to the whims and judgments of the external world. Epictetus, in a decisive manner, warns about the danger of engaging in competitions where the outcome is beyond our control. His phrase, "You never need to lose, as long as you stay out of competitions where you cannot control the outcome," emphasizes the importance of consciously choosing the areas in which we invest our competitive energy. This statement, besides having a literal interpretation, can be understood in a broader, transcendently applicable sense. Stoicism, as outlined by Epictetus, invites us to rethink the very nature of competition. A competition is not merely defined by an effortful activity to achieve victory over others, but it is shaped by the way we perceive it. If we manage to let go of the aversion to defeat and the obsessive desire for victory, the competition ceases to exist in its innermost aspect. We are then engaged in the activity, but externally we transcend the notion of competition. This Stoic perspective does not eliminate the possibility of external victory or defeat, but it redefines our internal relationship with these concepts. According to Stoic teachings, internally, we are the guardians of our positioning regarding victory and defeat. Epictetus's famous quote, "Do not demand that events happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do happen, and you will go on well," reveals the essence of this philosophy. It's about serenely accepting the unfolding of external events, aligning our internal perspective with the acceptance of what is beyond our control. However, an intriguing reflection arises. What if we genuinely desire defeat? What if we fully embrace this outcome if it were to happen? When we engage in a competition where victory or defeat are external possibilities, two situations can emerge. This duality proposed by Stoicism raises a profound question about our relationship with external results. In a competition, our internal attitude can determine the true meaning of victory or defeat, regardless of the external outcome. This internal perception is a central theme in Stoic philosophy, as it is the only area where we have absolute control. Seneca, in his Letters to Lucilius, reflects on the true meaning of defeat. No one can be a victor if he has not first learned to be defeated. The Stoics do not deny the importance of action or effort in the pursuit of excellence, but they emphasize the need to detach from external results. This detachment does not imply a lack of effort or indifference, but an understanding that, regardless of the outcome, virtue and moral integrity remain under our control. This mentality can provide an unshakable inner freedom, regardless of the external outcome. The Stoic concept of victory and defeat transcends conventional notions. Externally, in the eyes of others, victory is celebrated and defeat is lamented. However, from the Stoic perspective, our internal attitude determines the true triumph or failure. If we approach the competition without the desire to win or lose, but by accepting events as they are, victory is achieved internally, regardless of the external result. Stoic philosophy encourages a unique view of adversity. If we face it with serene acceptance of what is, adversity ceases to be a trial and becomes part of the journey, incorporated into our acceptance of life as it unfolds. Seneca, in his Letters to Lucilius, expresses this understanding. Sometimes, even to live is an act of courage. The apparent resignation of the Stoic mentality is not a sign of defeatism, but of a practical power that arises from the acceptance of things as they are. It is an invitation to transcend fixation on external results and find an inner peace unshaken by the fluctuations of the external world. This attitude not only offers inner freedom, but also an unshakable strength in the face of life's unpredictable circumstances. When we engage in a competition, focusing on the performance we can control is a valuable Stoic strategy. If we achieve victory, it is a reason for celebration. If we experience defeat, it is an opportunity to practice and learn. Both outcomes are embraced and seen as opportunities for personal growth. The Stoic perspective on failure also aligns with the growth mindset idea popularized by Carol Dweck. Failure is seen as a springboard for development, a chance for improvement and learning. If we embrace defeat as an opportunity to get better, it ceases to be an obstacle and becomes an ally in our progress. Epictetus, through his stories about the musician and the Macedonian king, highlights the role of desire and fear in generating anxiety. Both cases are driven by a specific desire. The musician desired the audience's approval, while the king sought to make a good impression on the Stoic philosopher. Epictetus suggests that identifying and questioning our desires is crucial to dealing with anxiety. By removing the desire that generates anxiety, we can reduce its impact on us. The application of this logic is evident in everyday situations. Imagine the fear of communicating with someone you have a romantic interest in. This fear is linked to the desire for approval and acceptance from that person. The possibility of rejection generates anxiety, fueled by the desire to be accepted. However, a change in perspective is crucial. What if we actively sought failure? What if we redefined defeat as our goal? Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, explored this paradox through the concept of paradoxical intention. The practice of paradoxical intention actively seeks failure as a goal. By reversing our expectations and preparing for the worst possible outcome, paradoxically, we find freedom and relief from anxiety. This exercise allows for a change in our relationship with failure, turning it from a feared event into an opportunity to challenge our expectations and grow through the experience. Viktor Frankl, with his acute perception of fear and anxiety, proposes a peculiar and profoundly Stoic approach. By confronting our fears and actively seeking what we fear, we redirect aversion towards an attitude of acceptance. By opening ourselves to what once caused us fear, we create a paradoxical dynamic where anxiety decreases. A practical example of this approach is in overcoming the fear of stuttering during a conversation. If, instead of fearing this event, we open ourselves to the possibility of stuttering, the fear itself diminishes. This change in the relationship with fear can, paradoxically, reduce the likelihood of stuttering occurring. By desiring what we fear, subverting fear into acceptance, we transform the relationship with the feared event. Translating this logic to the case of the Macedonian king, if he actively desired to leave a terrible impression on Zeno, challenging his own expectations, he could have alleviated his anxiety. By doing so, he creates a situation where both outcomes are desired. If he left a terrible impression, he would achieve what he paradoxically sought initially. On the other hand, if he surprisingly made a good impression, it would also align with his initial desire to fail in that specific aspect. Stoicism, from this perspective, highlights that defeat in itself is not the burden. It is our relationship with defeat that determines its impact on us. If we face defeat with disdain or aversion, any possibility of it occurring becomes a source of suffering. However, if we accept the possibility of defeat, if we do not care about it and even desire it, it loses its power to harm us, as it aligns with our internal desires. This mentality transforms even defeat into a form of victory as it becomes a desired outcome. By challenging our fears and actively embracing what we fear, we adopt an attitude of acceptance and, paradoxically, find freedom and power over what once scared us. But if we do not care about losing and even accept it, it will not cause us harm as we get what we desire. And so even defeat becomes a victory.